everyone for joining. We're going to kick off right now, but first and foremost, just a few housekeeping things. First, I want to thank you so much for joining this session today. This has been amazing. It's the first webinar that I'm organizing this year, 2021. It's going to be awesome. I have been doing webinars previously, but this is the first ever webinar in 2021. So I want to kind of thank you so much for spending your time over the next hour. Hopefully, you'll be getting new, new insights. And I'm going to do something quite different today, something slightly different. First and foremost, I just want to check with everyone here that you can see me, you can hear me okay. We have a chat box. So do use the chat box because I'm going to be asking you questions throughout the webinar. So please type yes if you can hear and see me okay. So go ahead and type yes so that I can check that everyone can see and hear me okay before we start. And if I can ask you also, please do put on the camera on, because as a presenter, it's always useful for me to see people and see expressions so that I can deliver more. Okay, so if you can, please put your cameras on, and then we'll just start. Okay. If you can see and hear me okay, Yasmin says yes, Marianne says yes, so Rohit says yes. Okay, so thank you for joining us. There's a lot more people hopefully will be joining in the next few minutes or so. I know a lot of people have signed up for this. It's a free to attend webinar. So again, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. And like I said, I'm going to do something slightly different. I'm going to do a presentation for the next hopefully 30 minutes or so about living with purpose and goal setting. But what I'm going to do is for the second half of this session, I want to invite you. I want to invite and speak to you directly, right? Because I value your engagement. I value your time. So later on, I'm going to hopefully have a conversation with you, one-to-one conversation. Throughout the process, do let me know if you want to jump on, and then we can have a quick conversation about living with purpose and also goal setting. So I'm going to start off. With something that I usually end with my webinars, but I'm going to start off today with a quote that I love. This quote is from Les Brown. Les Brown is one of my favorite motivational speakers, and also someone that I kind of had the privilege and honor to meet last year here in Dubai when he came over with a few more other speakers. I'm going to start with, he always says that, he says, wherever you are in life, you've made an appointment to be there. Wherever you are in life, you've made an appointment to be there. And you have made an appointment to be here today in this session. So I applaud you for taking the time out of your day to join us. Plus, there's a lot of people from around the world joining this webinar today. So on that note, I actually want to ask where are you joining from? This is quite interesting because I know there's people from Southeast Asia and from the States. So please write in the chat box, where are you joining us from? I'm based in Dubai in the UAE. So it will be interesting to know who else is joining from other parts of the world. So if you can use the chat box, just type in, where are you joining this session from? Let me see. I know there's a few people from Malaysia, from Southeast Asia. I think there's a few people from the States as well. Marianne's joining from Pennsylvania. Hi, Marianne. Thank you for taking the time out. I think it's early morning right now. In Southeast Asia, I think it's kind of going towards late at night. So again, thank you so much for joining. So without further ado, I'm going to start with the presentation. Okay, I'm going to share the screen with you guys. Okay, can you see the screen? I've lost my chat box now. Let me just have a look at the chat box. Yeah, I've lost the chat box. Anyway, I'm hoping you can see the screen okay. And I'm going to start the presentation. Okay, so we're talking about living with purpose, a guide to setting your goals, right? Um, okay, like I said, first and foremost, congratulations, because you've taken the first step for 2021. I know we're going to go through this in the next few slides about, you know, what 2020 has been for all of us, but how do we look forward towards 2021? Now, a bit of background about myself. If you don't know me already, I come from a design background. I was previously practicing as an architect. And I've dealt with a lot of big organizations. These were some of my clients. I've practiced in the UK and now here in the UAE as well. But so over the past few years, I've been kind of developing the skills of becoming a life coach. And in 2020, I had I guess the opportunity to become certified as a Jay Shetty certified coach, and that's been one of the kind of big milestones in my life, because I get to help people, and this is what I love doing. I love helping people. And throughout the course over the past few years, I have, you know, again, I'm absolutely grateful to have met these amazing people: Les Brown, Gary Vee, Vishen Lakhiani. So these are the guys who are in the circuit of public speaking, motivational speaking. You know, as you know, Vishen Lakhiani is from Mind Valley, Gary Vee, Les Brown. And I've also been hosting these webinars. You know, I took it upon myself as an initiative to be serious about what I want to do, which is to help people. So I've been organizing a few webinars in 2020, been on shows as well with Spencer Lodge here in Dubai, in the UAE. I'll be putting sharing some of the kind of links for the social media. You know, you can download a free ebook from myself as well, the website as well. And I also have a YouTube channel. So on the YouTube channel, I encourage you to go and check this out, because all of these webinars, the previous webinars, are up live on the YouTube channel. So this is a useful resource. If you want to, you know, understand more about myself and the work that I do, head on over to the YouTube channel. Don't worry, I'm going to share with you all the links in the chat box at the end. Okay, so 2021. So what's 2021 about, right? Actually, it's still a big blur. It's still a big blur. You know, here in Dubai, in the UAE, we've had some steady cases which are going up, but I know in other parts of the world, for example, in the UK, in the States, things are escalating quite dramatically. So, you know, we're not out of the whole kind of situation we're in at the moment. It's still a bit, a big blur for many people, right? So it's a period of confusion, because we thought 2020 was going to pass quite quickly, but we're still here, right? And it can feel overwhelming for a lot of people. So if you can, you know, type in the chat box, you know, how have you personally tackled 2020? You know, does it feel overwhelming? Does it feel confused? Or are you able to, you know, I guess, you know, move forward with what's happened? So do type in the chat box. It'd be quite interesting to see. Let me see. Just gonna see the chat box. Fortunately, I can't see the chat box, unfortunately. But anyway, I'm gonna keep going, right? So I've been talking to a lot of people. A lot of people, you know, if you are in kind of this neutral position, it is a period of confusion. You feel anxious, you feel overwhelmed, because you're put in a situation where you've never been in the situation before. I've never been in a situation before, right? So you're confused, you're anxious, you feel overwhelmed, especially when a lot of people are telling you, look, this is a great opportunity for you to start learning, to start engaging with this, start to engaging with that. You know, some people that I've been talking to, they say, well, you know, I don't really have a thing. You know, where do I start? So it kind of compounds the issue of, you know, you get more and more overwhelmed, because suddenly you're put in a position where, well, I should have a thing, but, you know, how do I find my thing? I don't really have a thing. So this is some of the kind of conversations that I've had with people. Now, this can actually lead towards kind of the negative spectrum, right? The negative spectrum, where we might feel anger, frustrated, like, you know, I don't have a thing, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, you know, how do I get myself ready? And, you know, it's a cyclical thing, you know, you start, this whole thing starts going over and over in your head, and, you know, you can easily go into kind of the victim mentality. Now, I want to kind of shift your focus from this, right? I want to shift from this to something else, which is, you know, being opportunistic about the thing, this whole thing, being positive. I know it's challenging. It's easy for me to say, oh, just think positive, but it does help. It's a I guess a moment where you're able to kind of start with the mind, right? To focus your mind on, rather than being a victim, start to kind of look at things from the opportunistic point of view. This can lead to kind of energy. You get renewed energy and allows you to go into the track of personal growth. So I'm a true believer that every single one of you out there listening to this has the opportunity to grow to your full potential. It doesn't matter where you are in life or what's happened previously in your life. There's a whole new future that is waiting for you to grow into. So I truly believe that every single one of us, no matter what we've done in the past, where we are in life, as long as you're still breathing, you're still listening to this, you're still watching this, you still have an opportunity to grow into your best selves. Okay? Just go on to next. So how do we seek clarity amidst, you know, I just told you it's a bit of a blur at the moment, still a blur. So how do we seek clarity? For me, one of the key things is to set goals. I mean, this is first and foremost. This whole webinar is about goal setting, right? So setting goals is actually one of the key things we need to do. You know, I have my own personal goals, my own milestones, right? But I'll go through why, what, and how in a minute, right? So, you know, when we talk about goal setting, we're talking about the why, the self, how do you place yourself in all of this, and the how, as I mentioned just now. So it's quite interesting to say, or to see, that over 80% of people don't have clearly written goals. Now, I'm not just talking about having goals, I'm talking about clearly written goals, writing it down. Now, there's science and studies done with this, saying that if you have written goals, it's not something that you just say, okay, I think I'm going to have XYZ by this date and achieve this by this time. It's about writing it down. There's something magical that happens when you write things down. Because for me, it's accountability. When you write something down, it transfers from the mind, the thought that you have, into physical action. Now, I'm all about physical action. I'm all about action, you know, taking action. Just having it in your mind is not good enough. You have to take action. And writing it down is the first step of taking action. You write it down. You become accountable of your goals. So you have to write your goals down. It's just not something that you just keep in your heads. So it's interesting to see that 80% of people don't have clearly written goals, right? And 90% of people who actually have these goals don't revisit or reassess them from time to time. Now, the ongoing assessment of your goals is also important. Just writing it down, but not going back to check where you are and what you need to do to recalibrate is something that people don't do. So this is a next step, writing it down, but also from time to time to check and recalibrate. Where am I in my towards reaching my goals? Am I doing the right things which are aligned towards my goals, right? So we're going to go quickly into the why, right? So why goal setting? You know, a lot of people talk about goal setting. Everyone's talking about goal setting right now, including me, right? It's 2021, beginning of the year. You find that at the beginning of each year, everyone starts to talk about goal setting. But why? Why is it important? For me personally, it's not about the beginning of the year. You can start writing your goals at any point of the year. It doesn't have to be New Year's. It just so happens that New Year's people start talking about, I'm going to change, or I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that this year. It doesn't have to be at the beginning of the year. At any point of time, you can start your goals, right? You can start writing your goals and start working towards it. It doesn't have to be at the beginning of the year, right? So why is it important? There are a few things. I think there's about 6 key things that I talk about. Why is it important? For me, the first and foremost, it provides a hook. It provides a hook. A hook in the future. Something that grabs your attention, something that you aim for in the future. If you don't have something that you're aiming for, it's difficult. It's blurry. You have to be clear. Now, later on, I'm going to talk about the clarity. How do you make your goals clear? It has to be crystal clear. It's not something vague, right? When we talk about money, I want more money. Well, how much? You don't know. You have to be exact, because that's the hook. That's the hook. Just like in the same way that you have a hook on a kind of a fishing hook, it's very sharp. It has a point. It's very accurate. It has a hook. Okay, that's the first thing. Why is it important? Second thing, it provides a GPS. You need to know where you're going, right? If you use Google Maps or wherever you are, I don't know, Waze in certain countries, it provides you somewhere, a destination to go towards. If you don't put a destination in your Google Maps, you're just wandering aimlessly. Google is going to ask you, where do you want me to go? I've got all these routes, but I don't know where I'm going. So having a goal actually gives you a GPS. It gives you guidance. Once you have that hook, that destination, then you're able to focus your energy. The energy that we have, if we have energy, everyone has energy, but if you don't focus it, laser focus on one particular aspect, you'll find that your energy is going to get eroded by other things. Now, what I mean is that your attention, the things that you do, might not be aligned with your goal. That means you'll find at the end of the day, I'm busy being busy. I've done all this stuff. I'm knackered at the end of the day, but what have I done towards achieving my goal, right? So I'm intrigued to understand from you guys. Please write in the chat box if this makes sense to you. If you have gone through all of these things before, in terms of, for example, energy, you're not able to you feel tired at the end of the day. You feel that you've done a lot of things, but it's like a hamster running on a hamster wheel, right? You're knackered, but where am I? I'm still here. I haven't progressed. So it gives you focused energy. The fourth thing is it gives you ownership. I'll talk about accountability, right? Accountability, the fact that you wrote down your goal. It's not somebody else asking you to do a goal. You've written this down. Say, for example, I want to start my business in 2021. I've had it with my job, my day job, or whatever it is. I'm going to start my business. You won't believe the amount of people that I've had conversations with who talk about, I want to do this, I want to do that, right? When I have a conversation with people, I mean, I can see the energy, I can see everything. It's like the way that they described it is very clear. But when, I haven't seen it for a long time, I come back and nothing's happened, right? So again, I talk about writing these things down, writing them down and taking ownership of them, right? So this is where when you write it down, you take ownership, right? Sorry, my daughter is here. Okay, so we talk about ownership. Right? So when you have ownership, you're not doing it for someone else. You are doing it for yourself. So this is very, very important because it's your goal. It's not somebody else's goal, right? It's ownership, taking ownership of it, right? So the next thing is to be able to flourish. Once you're able to focus your energy, you know where you're going, you have a destination, that's where things start escalating quite quickly. You will find that things will happen and start to fall in place. For example, think about, for example, you've been trying to do or start this business up for the last year, 2 years. Suddenly, when you're focused, when you have that energy focus into this one aspect that you want to go towards, you will find that doors start to open and you're thinking, how did that happen? Right? I'm talking to this guy, I'm talking to that guy, people are coming to me to engage with me, to start, to to enhance my business, you will slowly find that you will start to flourish out of nowhere. And this is because science, again, you are focused in doing the things that you should be doing towards your goal. They talk about, the reticular activating system, the RAS. That means it's the capacity of the brain to be able to focus on the things that should be focused on. So, for example, we talk about different examples of, if for example, me, when I bought my car, it's a gray car, right? And suddenly, out of nowhere, I start seeing the gray car all over the place. Now, is it magic? No, it's not magic. It's just basically things. It's already there. It has already, those things are already there. It's just that I did not notice it because it was not at the front of my vision. It was not something that I was focused into. So when you have focus, you're able to flourish quite quickly. Things start to escalate in a positive way for you, right? And the last thing for me is always, I always say this to people. Life in the last 12 months, if you're like me, again, write in the chat box if this rings a bell with you. Like, for me, I've had a revelation that life's too short to be too serious. Have fun with the thing. And the best thing about goal setting is that when you hit that goal, say, for example, I wanted to do XYZ by this time and I achieve it. So imagine at that point where you look back in your, for example, journal. Again, something that I encourage you to do is keep a journal. Look back at your journal and say, wow, I wrote this at this time, right? And now I can safely say that I've achieved this goal. I score it off or tick or do something. I celebrate, celebration. Don't be afraid to celebrate when you achieve your goal, right? Because the thing is, it's at the beginning of a next goal. It's not the end. Achieving a goal is not the end. It's actually, for me, the beginning of another bigger goal, right? So these are the key things for me as to why it's important to, again, we need to understand why we're doing it. If we don't understand why we're setting goals, it's kind of difficult, to kind of convince yourself to keep and stay with it, right? So again, do write in the chat box, what do you feel about this? It's all of this making sense. Type yes if it's making sense to you in the chat box, please. I just want to kind of see if I'm talking nonsense or it actually makes sense. So yes, Rohit Vishal says yes. Yasmin says tick your goals. Yeah, you've planned to achieve. Absolutely. Marianne says yes. So absolutely, thank you so much. So again, I'm going to keep going because this is, for me, I'm really excited about this because I'm sharing all of this with you guys, right? So the self is where we talk about purpose, right? We talk about purpose, living with purpose. We talk about the self. So before we start on a journey, any journey, right? If, say, for example, it's kind of difficult right now because, people are in lockdown. So, but if you are starting a journey to go on a holiday, for example, right? You have a destination, you know where you're going, but also at the same time, before you embark on the journey, you start to pack your things. You start to pack the things that you think you might need along the journey. So before starting the journey, something that I always ask people to do is, please question the starting and finishing points. Is it the right thing? Now, sometimes this is where it's critical because I'm going to talk about this in a minute. It's critical because sometimes we feel, oh, I should be doing this. I think this is my goal because I feel, for example, XYZ has happened in the past and I think this is my goal. I think this is my goal. I'm going to start doing it, and you start doing it. But please take some time to reflect and say, is this really my goal? Right? Are they correct? Now, a lot of the time that I speak with people, at the beginning of my coaching sessions, when I speak with people, they would come in to the coaching session and say, Kamil, today I want to talk about XYZ. This is my goal. Say, for example, I'll give you one example. Kamil, I want to talk about leaving my job because I'm tired with my job. Nothing's happening. My goal is to leave my job. Towards the conversation that I have, the coaching sessions that I have, what I would find is that when I'm asking the questions, when I dive deep with the clients, at the end of the day, the clients are actually saying, well, actually, it's not really my job that's the issue here. It's possibly something else. It's possibly my relationship with the people or one particular coworker in my office. So can you imagine, like, understanding the goal, but actually working through with the coach to gain clarity, is this the right goal? Because imagine if that particular person actually left their job, but actually the issue wasn't really the job, the issue was something else. So please seek clarity. And this is where working with coaches like me, and I'm JHIT certified coach, be able to kind of work with you to gain clarity in terms of your goals. Are they the right, is this the right goal, or is there something else that you should be looking at? Right. So this is a quick exercise. You can have a look at this, that I always work with people. So exercise of asking, where am I now? It's a self-introspection exercise. This is something you go dive deep, look into yourself. Where am I now? Right. So assess. Some of the questions I should, I would probably ask my clients are, how are you feeling today? How do you feel about your life right now? What are the things that you feel that you can improve on, or what are the things that you're grateful for? So just assess, to put yourself into context, into the here and now. Now, the next thing I would probably dive deep into is understanding the past, understanding what happened in the past, what has worked, what has not worked. So this is where we try to kind of engage, to kind of reflect, about the past, not in a negative way, but again, things that have happened in the past has the potential to propel you in the future, right? So the third thing is, where are you going? So what is the goal? So before we jump straight into the goal, we do an assessment of where you are now and what has happened in the past before we start talking about the goal. So these are useful exercises that you yourself can do it. You can do it before you engage with the coach. Have a quick assessment, a quick checkup on where you are, where you've been, and where you're going. Right. So again, something that I always kind of want to shift people is to focus on things which are, rather than focusing on the things that you don't want, focus on the things that you do want to work in your life. So for example, I don't want to be overweight. I don't like the job that I'm in. But rather than focusing on the negatives, start to shift your mind to start to think, okay, I actually want to work on my passion. So rather than saying, I don't want the job that I'm in at the moment, start focusing on the passion. So this is where, again, focusing the energy into the goal. So the goal isn't really dealing with, getting out of the job. It's actually to focus on working on your passion, because that might be the particular thing that you might be focusing on, rather than kind of wanting to get out of your job. So the how, again, I'm going to go through this quickly. I don't have time to go through a lot of them, but I'm going to give you a brief summary of the key tools that I would work with my clients in terms of goal setting, right? Because I want to engage with you after this. This is almost like half an hour. So in the next half an hour, I want to engage with you, right? So this chap, does anyone know who this guy is? His name is Jim Rohn. If you have come across him before and his work, please type in yes in the chat box, or type in I, like Tony Robbins. I, Tony Robbins always goes, I. Do you know this guy, Jim Rohn? Be interesting to know if you know Jim Rohn or have come across Jim Rohn before in the past. Type in the chat box. It's just curious, just to understand if you have come across or no. Just said type no. Just be honest. That's fine. There's no right or wrong answer. Yasmin says I. Hisham says no problem. Now you do, Hisham. Now you do. I'm going to explain to you about Jim Rohn. Vishal says no. Absolutely, that's fine. Thank you for sharing. Because keep going. Who else? Anybody else has heard about Jim Rohn? Amira says no, that's fine. Who is Jim Rohn? Jim Rohn, okay, fine. Next question is, do you know Tony Robbins? Tony Robbins. Do you know Tony Robbins? Say yes or no in the chat box. Do you know Tony Robbins? Marianne says yes. Hisham says yes. Amira says yes. Yasmin says yes. Vishal says yes. Okay, fantastic. So you guys know Tony Robbins. Now, Jim Rohn is the granddaddy of Tony Robbins. Not literally granddaddy. He's the mentor of Tony Robbins. So all the stuff, the work that Tony Robbins is doing right now actually is because he was a student of Jim Rohn, right? So Jim Rohn started it off, started all of this, right? So if you have the time, I would like to invite you to go and check out Jim Rohn's work. It's on YouTube. Just listen to it, right? Absolutely, he's like a a granddad figure. Really, really nice to listen to him. But it makes sense. So you understand that Jim Rohn, he's the guy that kind of coached Tony Robbins, and Tony Robbins now is who he is because of Jim Rohn. Now, Jim Rohn, he says, when is the best time to start? When is the best time to start anything, a goal, whatever? He says, as soon as it's finished in the mind. Now, what does that mean? At the beginning, when I heard this, I was like, how the hell does that work? How does finishing something or starting something, as soon as it's finished in the mind, it doesn't make sense to me. So I kind of listened to it a few times. I had to listen to this tape over and over again, this YouTube link. And basically it makes sense. So basically what it means is that the point where you start is where you've got clarity. What he's trying to say is clarity in your mind. That means when I talk about clarity, I talked about actually making it crystal clear in your mind. What is your goal? What do you want to achieve, right? We'll talk about the exercise or kind of the thing that you can do in terms of goal setting in a minute, but it has to be clear, crystal clear. Now, when I say crystal clear, I'm talking about you can actually smell the thing. You can actually feel the thing. You know who's with you. When you look left and right in your mind, when you look left and right, you can picture the thing. This is the clarity in your mind. That's where you start to, you've started that process of taking action, of having it in your mind. Then you need to take action towards your goal, right? So have I work from back to front, right? So back to front. So that means start with the end in mind. Where am I going? So start with the final thing. So for example, you have to set a goal. So for example, I want to start my dream job by January 2022. That means I allow myself a year from now to start my dream job, right? Again, one of the key things is to allow yourself to be realistic with the thing. If I say, I want to start my dream job next week, that's not really realistic because there's a lot of things that I need to do to actually start my dream job. So if I allow myself a year, I think that's a kind of decent enough time, right? 12 months, but I need to really kind of start working towards my goal from now. So start with the end in mind. So the long-term goal, right? At the end. So what happens at the end? So once you start with the end, then you start to break it down into groupings. So out of the 12 months, I need to start my dream job January 2022. I have 12 months working back. So each month, what should I be doing each month, right? And assess myself each month. At the end of each month, what are the kind of the monthly goals? So from the big one goal, I have subsets of each month. So if I was to draw a diagram, I would have this big thing at the top, but I will have 12 small boxes of each month. And each month I set myself smaller targets, monthly targets, right? Working back, a step back from that, then I'm talking about short-term goals. So these are possibly weekly or even daily goals, right? So again, if I use the example, if I want to start my dream job by January 2022, today, what should I be doing? How many, for example, I'm going to start from scratch. First thing that I can do, doesn't take much time, is actually to assess my CV. Okay, can I finish assessing my CV, or do I need maybe 3 days? I allow myself a couple of days to update my CV, or a week. Let's say I allow myself a week to update my CV. So 5 days, 5 working days. So you start to really kind of break it down into smaller chunks and daily chunks. And at the end of each day, assess yourself, check, did I achieve this? No, okay. Can I achieve it tomorrow? So you start to break it down rather than being overwhelmed for the fact that I have this big thing that I'm working towards, but you break it down into smaller chunks and try to hit it off one by one. And slowly you'll find that you will start to kind of move towards that path. So for example, you know, like I said in the CV, allow myself a week. So within that week, what do I need to do? I need to check all the references. I need to, you know, where is my old CV? Actually dig it out, put it in front of me, start to work through, start to kind of type things in, take things out. So again, I'm talking about smaller micro goals, okay? So this will allow you to rather than being overwhelmed by the situation, to kind of break it down to smaller chunks. Now, these are the tools that I usually use, right? I don't have the time to go through them right now, but I'm going to explain to them briefly, right? So the 80-20 is what are the kind of the small things that you can do which has a big impact. So rather than, it's about kind of how you manage your energy. That means rather than spending a lot of time doing things which bring minor results, what are the minor things, the small things that you can do that can actually bring you bigger results? So that's a way of working the 80-20 rule. The next thing is the SMART goal. So SMART is specific, smart goals, and then the most important tasks, and also the priorities matrix. So these are some of the tools that I would work with my clients towards, you know, achieving the goal, right? So we have I think maybe about 20 minutes left. So to wrap up, you know, clarity. So clarity again, goals. The 6 key reasons why we should have goals, right? The self-assessment of the self. Where am I now? Where was I before? What has allowed me to get to where I am now? And where am I going, right? And the how are the tools, right? So again, see, these are kind of the ideas, or kind of some of the kind of background things that I would work with someone. I've actually worked on it on myself, especially, you know, looking at for example, one of the key things is the priorities matrix. You know, sometimes we get overwhelmed with situations. When I talk about the priorities matrix, is what are the things that which are important and urgent. It's between importance and urgent. We all have the same 24 hours a day, but how do you, when you find someone who does a lot in a day, right? You know, people will come to me and say, Kamil, you know, how do you manage to do all of this, right? I don't have the time. When people say I don't have the time, they're actually saying it's not a priority for me, because anything's achievable. It's just whether it's higher on your priority list than something else. So what are you trading off? So for example, again, going back to the example of I want to be starting my dream job in 2022, right? So for example, if I'm chilling out, going out with friends, is that actually, you know, saying, is that conflicting or is that aligning with my goals? You know, if I'm spending a lot of time out of my 24 hours, whereas I should be socializing or going out and, you know, doing X, Y, Z, rather than spending that time with something that aligns with my goal, is that a useful or is that a priority for you towards your goal? So it's something that you just have to kind of, I guess, sacrifice. You know, nothing comes without sacrifice. You have to sacrifice something, but is it worth sacrificing, right, towards your goals? So I'm gonna stop right there. We've got a few more minutes, right? I just want to introduce tomorrow as well. Tomorrow it's really exciting because we have I'm gonna have my good friend Stacey Henry Carr. She's a hypnotherapist. And I've gone through hypnotherapy sessions with her before, and it kind of ties in with the goal setting, because again, before moving forward, hypnotherapy I think is one of kind of the I guess unknown things a lot of people have. or kind of come across. Some people have different expectations or experiences with it, but hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to kind of dive deep and have a look at that tomorrow. So again, do join us tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. UK, 6 p.m. UAE, and 10 p.m. Malaysia. So Marianne, you have a question. Marianne, you're on right now. Would you like to ask a question? Anyone wants to ask a question right now, or you want to kind of have a comment? Just let me know, and then we'll bring you on. So does anyone does that make sense? Am I talking sense right there? Or thanks Edie. And again, if you have any particular things, so for example, if you want to discuss some of your goals, maybe you can have a quick, I guess, session right now.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Marianne.
Hi, thank you so much. I really received clarity this morning regarding my goal settings, because I have a major thing that I'm working on. And I keep getting stuck, and I think I'm not setting my goals properly. So this actually helps me really stay focused on the goal and revisit the goals each time, instead of just let the year go by and not revisiting, not assessing. And I like that quote from Jim Rohn, how you have to see it in your mind. You have to see the end in your mind. How does that go again?
Absolutely, yeah. Start with the end in mind. I guess that's the question that he asked in his all his speeches is when is the best time to start? As soon as it is finished in your mind. As soon as it's finished in your mind, that's when you start.
Absolutely, because I really believe that, because everything that I have accomplished, everything that I've set out to do, whenever I see myself doing it, I see the end result, it always get done. But those that I'm struggling with and I don't see the end result and the excitement, it takes me a longer time.
Sure, absolutely.
So thank you for having us this morning.
Thank you, Marianne. Again, if you perfectly okay if you don't want to share some of the goals that you have for 2021. Do you want to share some of them, and maybe we can all discuss?
Yeah. So in 2021, I have a mission to start a nonprofit organization. It's already started, but there are more things that needs to be done to eradicate the stigma of sexual trauma, and to start a network of counselors and coaches and therapists to help with the mission to help people gain clarity, to help people move forward, to see that they are capable of overcoming any setbacks in their lives.
That's awesome. That's really noble, Marianne. Thank you for having that vision and goal. But Marianne, if I can ask you, what does that look like? You kind of start to kind of describe. I think that's really nice what you've described. But what does that actually look like in terms of, like I say, being absolutely crystal clear in actually, you've got some components there. So, my mind started to kind of, imagine and picture these things. But in terms of actually making it absolutely crystal clear, who are the key stakeholders, for example? Who are the people that might be a part of this organization? Who are again, it's about literally writing down, for example, you say, you need stakeholders, you need other people, but who are they? Go dive deeper, write them down, like literally list them down. So what does that look like, Marianne?
So that looks like having a safe space where individuals, though sometimes have been through divorce, They have been in different relationships. People moving from one relationship to the next, and they keep finding themselves in abusive relationships. My organization will be able to provide the resources, provide financial resources towards the mentorship, towards the coaching, towards the therapy that they need to see themselves overcoming those obstacles, those setbacks, those blockage, so that they can receive the clarity to move on. So this is a joint effort that's going to be like online as well as a physical location. And yeah.
That's great. You start to kind of create that picture. So now you've got that the physical location as well as something that's happening online. So again, it's kind of really kind of squeezing and diving deep a bit more. You know, the physical location, for example, where is it? You know, is it in every city, or is it, you know, is it just a local thing? Is it part of another youth or, you know, facility or some other facility? So I guess that's where, you know, when we talk about the SMART goals, you know, specific, you know, really be specific about it. It's almost like, for me, I'm a visual kind of person. So I really, even to imagine what the colors of the walls will look like, because I really want to kind of be that specific. The more specific I am, the more likely it's going to happen, because I will, again, I go back with the example of the car. You know, there was this picture of a car that I wanted, and now I have that car, specific color, specific model, every single thing was specific because I had it in my mind. This is what I want. So you talked about being specific right there. Second, you know, SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable. That means you are able to attain it. Like I said, you know, if I say next week, I want this to happen. Marianne, again, if you say, I want this to happen next week, is it attainable? Possibly a bit challenging to do it in a week, but if you allow yourself time and work back, that's a bit more realistic. So attainable. And we talk about realistic, you know, is it realistic? And timely. So timely, in what amount of time do you allow yourself to achieve this goal? So all these are the components of the SMART goals. So thank you, Maria. Thank you for sharing that with us. Anyone else want to share some of their goals this year? You know, for example, that maybe 2020 was challenging. It was difficult to even set goals, but this year, you know, with renewed energy, what do you want to achieve this year? Feel free to type in the chat box, or you know, I can invite you on if you want. So how has 20 again? How has 2020 been for you guys? You know, was it challenging? Was it okay? You know, how did you achieve some of your goals? You know, Amira, I don't know if you want to kind of share something with us. I'm putting you in the spotlight. It's only because I've had some conversations with you before.
Okay, sure. So 2020 wasn't that bad because, well, I'm only 16, and it was okay-ish. And then towards the end, I kind of got into personal growth and stuff. I started meditating, you know, investing in myself. So that was really, really good. And this year, I'm kind of just focusing on myself even more, you know, loving myself even more, and giving back to everybody. So I'm currently in the process of creating a series of programs for our youth across the globe to kind of give them a learning experience on what emotional intelligence is, you know, how to kind of tap into that creative intuition and live lives. So yeah.
That's really awesome. Thank you, Amira. I think that, you know, I've seen some of the stuff that you're doing online, and it's a very noble thing. And especially someone, I'm not being ageist here, but someone who's 16, who's actually taking it upon themselves to be part of this, you know, initiative. I think, you know, I applaud you for doing this. At 16, I have no idea what I was doing. I think I was goofing around. And I can't remember what I was doing, but you know, hey, that's life. But you know, the fact that you are doing this is actually noble. So thank you so much for doing it. And I really do hope that things, you know, pick up for you. If you don't mind just sharing, you know, what youth organization are you with at the moment, or are you attached to?
Okay, so I'm an ambassador for 3 of them, and then I'm part of some outreach department and a research department with another department, with another youth organization. So the first one is called Teen Health 101, where we kind of like, it's basically about med stuff. And then the other one is United Global Health, which is also kind of just mental health, basically. Then the other one is Teenage Advocates, where it's also mental health, and I'm an ambassador for those 3. Yeah, we recently had an event of Teen Health 101 where we featured 2 people who have been to medical school and, you know, who kind of know what medical school entails, and, you know, how they can work through it, because some people find it really, really stressful. So we just held an event last Sunday. Yeah, but it was really, really cool. It's really kind of cool connecting with different people, and, you know, seeing that different teens around the world have also started their own initiatives of, you know, raising awareness to what mental health is, and, you know, how they can help other people cope with it. So yeah.
That's really awesome. Thank you again. If you don't mind, where are you calling from, Amira? If you don't mind sharing with us.
I'm currently living in Kenya.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And again, just from your own experience, just from my own knowledge, and I don't know if it might be useful for other people as well. What are the kind of key things which are, I guess, challenging at the moment from what you're experiencing with people that you're working with in terms of the youth at the moment? What are the key things that you mentioned about working on mental health? What key aspects of mental health are people struggling with, especially when
I
it comes
think
to...
it's Yeah, I think it's more of the stress from school, because, you know, school has it has so much pressure on you, you know, like, so I'm sitting for my mocks and then I have my O levels in a few months, but, you know, the teachers put so much stress on you that, you know, you're defined by a particular grade that you get, you know, you're defined by what teachers generally say about you, and, you know, that kind of reduces their self-esteem. It reduces the confidence that they have in themselves. So I think, personally, for me, I believe that our education systems are messed completely, because what we learn in school doesn't reflect our real life situation. So if I'm studying medicine right now, they're not going to tell me this is what you have to do to become, you know, a top-notch doctor and a top-notch surgeon. You know, it's just textbook mindset. So, you know, with these mental health programs, we kind of help them with reducing that stress, you know, because stress can kill you, basically, you know. And
Absolutely.
another thing is depression with, you know, people have problems with family, people have problems with their friends, you know. So it's kind of like addressing depression, you know, how can you cope with depression instead of, you know, getting into all that bad stuff like drugs and whatever. How can you find an alternative, a much healthier alternative, you know? So those are the kind of things that we address.
So I guess one of the key, what I picked up there is talking about self-esteem, especially at a young age. You know, you know, I'm quite, I've gone through the whole education system, like many other people. So I guess the experience has been rather, you know, challenging, you know, especially when it comes to self-esteem and trying to kind of hit certain targets or other people's expectations. So the thing that you're doing right now is really, really important and really useful, and I applaud you for doing it, because you're addressing that right at your stage, rather than leaving it to fester and having to recorrect the issue later on in life. So I really applaud you for doing that. Thank you, Amira.
Thank you.
I don't know if anyone else wants to share some stuff. Edie, I don't know, Edie, do you want to share some stuff with us? Are you okay? Again, sorry, your mic, your mic. Sorry, I'll just unmute. Hi, Edie. How are you doing, buddy?
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So I'm currently live in United States, but I'm originally from Rwanda. For me, I'm a mixed media visual artist, and I've been doing this for since when I was a young kid. Um, but my goal is to point people to be different, because if we all the same, nothing is gonna be great for this world. Because the problem is that we always want to be directed in same direction, while if everybody think in their own personhood, they might not understand that life is more open than fighting for something, everyone fighting for one thing. So the cause of all the problem is that people, they don't understand the power of energy. So energy is something that it doesn't discriminate. So it grows in everything you give power to. So it means that if you want to be a good person and you aim it every single day to achieve that, so there is no way you can't be that. So once you understand the energy, will be aware of which word you are distributing, and you know that we will die, but our energy never die. Energy keeps crossing around. So the cause of all the problems that are we facing as humans is because we don't care about what we are putting in the world, and once it goes out, like it's circle everywhere. So that's my goal. I guess
Absolutely.
my English is not that good, but I try to explain. I have several languages that I speak.
No, perfectly crystal clear for me. Thank you, Edie, for sharing. Again, thank you so much for doing what you do, because we need more people like you to redress the balance or imbalance that we have at the moment. So the more that we do a lot of these things, the more we're impacting and the more we're able to touch other people's lives. So again, thank you for sharing that with us. Something that you mentioned there, which I picked up on, was you talked about diversity and the significance and importance of diversity, rather than being everyone adhering to the same thing, rather than doing that, but celebrate the fact that you are unique. Everyone's unique, but
Sure.
sometimes we are scared to be unique and show our true selves because of the fear of other people's opinions. You know, that you should not be doing this, you should be doing that. So why are you doing this? So people question your own self, right? So when that gets in your mind, then you start to kind of believe believe that. So you no longer live your own true self, right? So that's the best thing, that there's strength, I believe, in diversity, because we are all unique. And you talk about energy. I completely agree with you 100%. It matters what we put out there. It really matters. So that's why I guess, again, going back to Jim Rohn, he said his mentor, it came from his mentor. He always says this. He says, every day stand guard at the gate, or every day stand guard at the door of your mind. That means, especially now, I'm saying this, I'm advising or kind of sharing this with everyone. Stand guard at the door of your mind, because it's so easy for something that you don't want to go in. We all are on social media. Every morning when you wake up, you open your WhatsApp, you open your Facebook, your Twitter, whatever it is. Just be conscious of what you're consuming and allowing in, because subconsciously that affects you, even though you think it's something trivial, but it does affect you. So again, Edie, going back to what you do, you talk about kind of engaging in media, is that right? Mixed
Yes.
media. So is that artwork, physical artwork that you do, or is it digital, or is it art?
It's physical. I do paintings and graphical graphical pencil portraits. So I don't know if you have checked in my Instagram account. So I do
We'll check it out.
several.
What's your handle again, Edie? So that share it with, if you can type it in the chat box so that everyone else can access your Instagram as well.
Okay, sure.
You share that. So you do the artwork. So again, it's amazing. We need more people like you in the world to inspire us all. You know, it's just not me talking. It's every single one of you. You have the potential to inspire and, you know, I guess be a shining light for everybody else. So again, thank you for sharing, Edie. If you don't mind just sharing that in the chat box so that we can also go and check out your Instagram handle. Does anybody else want to share something before we wrap up? You know, I'm really grateful that I'm speaking to a few of you here, and you know, people from different parts of the world, especially. We're all connected. So just let me know, and then I'll, you know, put your mic on, and then we can have a conversation. If not, I'm just going to share with you again in the chat box some of the links that you can check out. Okay, so this is some of the links. If you have a look at the chat box, this is some of the ways that you can contact me. Email contact@kamilshah.com. You probably have my contact details already because you've signed up for this. Website, Instagram, and then Twitter. I'm also on LinkedIn. If you have a LinkedIn account, just connect through LinkedIn. But the YouTube channel, something I want to kind of, maybe you probably don't know, but go to the YouTube channel, subscribe. There's lots of all the other webinars from last year, and also the videos that I've made, which again, hopefully might be useful for you and other people as well. So I think we'll wrap up right now. Is that okay, everyone? Please type in yes if you found this useful, because that's useful feedback for me. If you haven't found it useful, that's okay. But if you found it useful this session today, please type in yes in the chat box so that at least you know, I can get feedback, and I'll keep doing and delivering more each time. So thank you. Hisham says yes. Thank you, Rohit. Amira, thank you. Vishal, thank you, Zahira. So thank you, everyone. Just a quick reminder again, tomorrow is another special one. Do join us again tomorrow with Stacey Henry Carr. This is hypnotherapy. Now, hypnotherapy, I haven't seen many people talking about hypnotherapy, so this is going to be unique. Like I said, I've gone through a session with Stacey, absolutely blew my mind, because I did not know what I was going to get into, because I guess because of the previous misconceptions I had about hypnotherapy. So I was curious. I said, Stacey, let's do one session. And literally it was mind-blowing, because I was able to address some of the key issues in my life previously, brought them forward, addressed them, have a conversation with them. And that literally allowed me, I was literally over the week after my session with Stacey, I was just writing and writing and writing, and there was a lot of stuff that was coming out, and it was gems. It was all, I was just writing a lot of the you know, visions, things that I could do, things that I've addressed. And this was just one session with Stacey. It was awesome. And then I said, Stacey, you have to share this with people. You have to share your talent with people. So that's why I'm bringing her on tomorrow. We're going to have a conversation and hopefully dispel some of the myths behind hypnotherapy. So please do join us again. If you're here today, please join us again tomorrow. So again, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Rohit. Thank you, Zoom user, Amira, Priscilla. Thank you, Hisham, Vishal, Edie, Amira, mention you, Amira, Zahira, Yasmin, and everyone else. If you're watching this, stay safe, stay healthy. We're going to get through this together. And I'm going to end again with Les Brown. Wherever you are in life, you've made an appointment to be there. And you guys have made an appointment to be here over the last 60 minutes. Thank you so much. God bless, and see you guys soon. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, guys. You can unmute and I guess just say hi to everyone before we leave, or put your camera on, whatever it is. Thank you. Thank you,
Hi,
everyone.
thank you so
Thank you so
much.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.